have some actual new details in Remember the Deadly shooting that happened on the set of that Alec Baldwin movie, Rust. So police documents describe what took place, and follow me here. During rehearsal, Baldwin was seated on a church pew, and he was practicing a cross draw with his gun. He reportedly pointed his gun at the camera, and that's when a live round struck the director in the shoulder and the cinematographer in the chest, killing her. Court documents also reveal that it was the assistant director who handed Baldwin the firearm, telling him it was a cold gun, meaning that it was not loaded, which turned out to be, of course, incorrect. I want to talk about not blame, but accountability here and where it lies. And I just want to give you a little bit more inside information. The armorer was 24 and only done 2 movies before. She's the person in charge of the weaponry.
And she's called the armorer.
Armorer, yes,
okay.
Correct. They had, the assistant director had previous safety complaints on his previous Hulu series. And we had 6, I believe, of the camera crew resign hours earlier because of safety problems and of COVID issues and of not getting paid. And a week earlier, a prop gun on this set went off, even though it's supposed to be cold. Alec Baldwin, the actor, doesn't have, I get, any intention, but Alec Baldwin's also producing this movie. Do we, or do you all think there's criminal liability for Alec Baldwin to be charged for negligence?
I don't know about criminal, but
well, we
please.
have a lawyer coming up, so I think we'll leave that to the lawyer, right? For me personally, I think we have to separate just like you did. Alec Baldwin, the actor, again, I'm not a lawyer, I don't know. I don't think would be charged. But as a producer, looking over the whole cast and the production, maybe. But as an actor, if you're trying to learn your marks and where to go, and when they say action, you have to start at this spot, end at this spot, and say your lines in between, and then fire the gun halfway through, whatever it may be. If you're doing that and someone hands you the gun and says, this is a cold gun, and you're remembering where you have to go and what your lines are, that's what rehearsals are for. I don't think you have any blame in thinking if someone hands that to you, it's not a live gun, it's a cold gun. You're not even worried about it. So if you fire it, it's not your fault. It's a person who handed you that gun.
Interesting.
I just can't believe that they had 2 incidents where they were told that it was a cold gun and it wasn't. I mean, first of all, one would be egregious. But the fact that it happened before, that was the warning. That's the reason why when things happen that put you in personal jeopardy or, you know, the safety of an organization is in question, that's the reason why we have to report these things to ensure that it's corrected. Now you have 2, and it's like basically gun safety 101, to check a chamber to make sure that there isn't a bullet like lodged in there, because it's completely possible for that to happen. That's the reason why a lot of people will have their guns open, so every time they pick it up, you can see
literally see it.
So this is like, the more information that comes out, the more egregious it is, because the idea that this could happen twice is just unbelievable.
Well, let's talk to someone who knows what they're talking about. Al's not a doctor or a lawyer, but we are going to have Al ask a couple of questions. A lot of people are asking, could Baldwin, like I said, face criminal charges for what happened? To help us answer this, we do have a special guest. Joining us right now is legal analyst, best-selling author, and KBLA host of Areva Martin Out Loud. I know her well. Areva Martin, thank you so much for being on DBL. Areva, is there going to be any criminal liability? And if so, do you think it could involve Alec Baldwin?
Well, thanks for having me, and good to see you again, Tori. First of all, you know, no one should ever die on a movie set. Let's start with that. And my heart, I'm sure the hearts of Americans all over this country go out to Halyna and her family, to the family of Halyna. We know she has a son and a husband. Criminal liability, that's a big question. There hasn't been a lot of cases where there's been a death on a movie set where there have been criminal charges. There's been one, if we look back, John Landis and others were charged when that helicopter accident killed Vic Morrow and 2 kids. But there is a question about culpability here, and you guys have been talking about it. This wasn't the first time that this incident occurred on this set. There were allegations that there were safety protocols not being followed by the crew members. We know crew members walked off of this set. So all of those issues are going to be investigated by sheriffs, who are going to determine if the negligence, because clearly there was negligence, if that negligence rises to the level of criminal negligence and possibly involuntary manslaughter charges being filed against someone involved. I don't think they will reach to Alec Baldwin, because Alex is the actor in this situation. being handed a gun that he's told is cold, and I don't think there's any obviously intent and probably knowledge on his part about the live ammunition being in the gun.
Areva, can I just jump in and ask, as the producer, Alec, do you see a problem with his being sued in any way?
Definitely when it comes to the civil liability. Cases like this, I can pretty much guarantee you there's going to be a civil suit filed by Ms. Hutchins' family, and that will engulf pretty much everyone that had any operational control with respect to the set, and that will be the producers, the production company, this Armor, who you talked about at the beginning of the piece, who's this 24-year-old woman who'd only been on 2 movies prior to this, this assistant director that handed the gun to Alec Baldwin. Maybe even the gun manufacturer might be brought into a civil lawsuit. So we should expect to see a civil suit. We should expect to see multi-millions of dollars paid out to Halyna's family as a result of the negligence that resulted in her death.
Well, have we seen cases like this in the past where people are held criminally or civilly liable for accidents on set? And what have we learned from those cases?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, I mentioned earlier that the whole Twilight Zone, that movie, we know in the I think it was around 82 or so, where John Landis was the director, and he and 3 others were charged with involuntary manslaughter because of some deaths that resulted on that set. Ultimately, they were not convicted. They were acquitted for those charges. But look back to the Brandon Lee, the Crow movie, that Brandon Lee was killed in a very similar way to what we saw with Halyna, live ammunition in a gun fired. Brandon Lee, Bruce Lee's son, dies. No criminal charges were brought in that case. It's unusual for negligence to rise to the level of criminal negligence on movie sets, but not impossible. And this investigation is ongoing. It's early. Details are just becoming available. So I think it's too early to say one way or the other if criminal charges will be filed. I feel more confident about the civil charges because the negligence is clear. The walkout, the complaints about the failure to follow safety protocols, all of that is ripe for some kind of civil suit for wrongful death to be filed by Halyna's family.
Well, yeah, I was just going to ask, can we anticipate some kind of precedent being set so as we move forward, there are some
sets,
right on sets, like some kind of actual law, because it seems very kind of loose. Somebody that's on their second set, she's 24 years old. How did this happen?
Yeah, that's disturbing for all of us, I think, to find. Not that her age matters, but the experience level, right? That's what we'd be looking for, someone with a lot more experience. And then the question of supervision. Who was supervising this employee that only had 2 movies under her belt? There is already moving in the state legislature in California a bill that would bar any kind of live ammunition forever being on a movie set. So yes, we're already seeing the legislative process, the wheels grinding, because no one should ever die on a movie set. So I think you're going to see some legislation. I think you're going to see some major changes to the rules and regulations that govern sets, particularly when you have, the use of prop guns like we have in this case.
Very informative.
Yeah, thank you so much, Areva. Yeah, a lot of people writing in thanking you for the discerning information, letting us know. Thank you for joining us. Be sure to check out Areva's book, Awakening Ladies, Leadership, and the Lies We've Been Told, out now on Amazon or wherever books are sold. Areva, it was lovely seeing you again. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks.